Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined by Matt Brown, founder and publisher of the Extra Points newsletter covering college football. Matt, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Thanks for coming on. We've had you on before. We follow the stuff you do. We see all the stuff on social media, people referencing stuff you do. We probably have about 100 different things we could ask you about. We could keep you here the rest of the show. But if we don't ask you about Texas Tech right out of the gate, we are completely losing the plot. What did you think initially when you heard the court decision? Were you just absolutely flabbergasted? Or were you more shocked when you heard how hard Texas Tech people are defending it?
It's a little of all of the above. So when I heard about this, I was at NACDA, which is this gigantic conference of athletic directors and people that work in college sports, and this huge industry gathering. And there's loads of people who work in the Big 12 and across college sports at this event. And I could see, like with my own eyes and ears, people who are not prone to profanity or who are not prone to anger being more viscerally upset about this decision than anything I can remember in my career. Like more than Michigan sign stealing, more than any of the other specific athletic scandals. I mean, I'm putting Baylor and Penn State aside as something completely different, but a lot of legitimate fury about this. I am a little surprised to see how quickly and how publicly institutions like Nebraska and Georgia and potentially the Big Ten and SEC are saying we don't want to play these guys anymore. But that isn't something that's really happened over the last couple of decades. But the overwhelming sense that I got from talking to ADs about this over the last 2 days, which is a lot of what I've been doing, is I cannot believe that a judge ruled this, and I cannot believe even more that Texas Tech thinks it's okay. If this is not the line that we can all agree on, then clearly one does not exist.
Oh, come on, Matt. It's not like they murdered anybody.
You know, that line of whataboutism was not effective when I would give that to youth ecclesiastical leadership or my parents when I was a teenager. And I think when you're pulling that out, it is a sign that you really did do something wrong. That's something that you might expect from a congressman who's been caught cheating on a spouse, or not some kind of principled defensive behavior. I think that is ridiculous, and quite frankly, somebody who works in higher education should know better.
A lot of people would like a way out right now. What is the easiest way out? Or forget easy way out, embrace the more difficult, hard way out. Oh, what do you think?
There are no easy ways, right? And there's no easy ways, I think, about any of these existential questions that we've been talking about in college sports these last couple of years. If there were easy ways, we definitely would have done them now. One of the hard ways is the Big 12 Conference Office and Big 12 presidents and ADs have to get together and decide what kind of legal exposure are we comfortable with, knowing that there's a billionaire with lots of time on his hands on the other side of the table to try to enforce something. The NCAA may be barred from by a court or a legal order from saying the guy can't play, but that doesn't mean the Big 12 can't say that or the university can't say that. And so that's one potential angle here. But if you throw that out the door, there aren't any easy solutions. And mass collective action could very well be brought with other lawsuits. I know the popular talking point right now is like, well, if we had just passed this Protect College Sports Act, none of this would be happening because the NCAA would have the authority to be able to make this ban and there'd be no problems. I have talked to some attorneys that work in this world and a congressional staffer, and there's some doubt even about that because this is about a private contract. not necessarily about NCAA regulatory rights. I really don't think there's an easy way out of all of this beyond somehow the hearts of man changing and realizing, maybe I shouldn't be betting 900 times a day on professional sports or on the teams that I'm involved with.
Yeah, for sure. If we extrapolate in terms of this kid actually playing, what does that mean? What would open the door, sort of Pandora box for training now, or it's not training, gambling, I should say, going forward? Because where do you draw the line?
I legitimately, I think there is no line so long as you are financially prepared and have a jurisdiction to sue over it, right? I saw one of the Big 12 football coaches, I think a little bit facetiously saying, well, we're going to have to bring in some guys from Vegas and teach our guys how to gamble, and we'll kind of decide as a collective when we're going to play hard or not so we can maximize the spread, because it's my job to prepare our athletes and help them. That, I think, is a little ridiculous. But what this will show is that any rule, meaning as long as you're not breaking federal law, is not really able to be enforced. There are lots of practical reasons why betting on your team or betting on college football, if you are a college football player, is very stupid and psychologically can mess with your performance, but not any real penalty, again, so long as you don't commit wire fraud. I don't know how widespread athlete behavior would be for this, but what really worries me, and I've said this in Extra Points, and I've said this on the air, and I know this is not a super controversial take in this market, but I am legitimately way more worried about gambling as an existential threat to college football than I am about anything about budgets, NIL, player compensation, labor classification, or the law. Because as soon as a meaningful number of fans no longer feel like every game is on the up and up, there's no more industry. And everything else can be difficult and challenging, but there are solutions to it. If people don't trust the product, you're back to boxing, which has been mostly irrelevant in mainstream American culture now for the last 70 years.
I wonder, and I don't think it's likely, but I wonder if there is somebody with a longer range vision in Sorsby's camp. I mean, he wants to play this year and get the $5 million. He probably, like every other college player, wants to play in the NFL. The NFL has to be watching this hubbub and think, oh, we are going to draw a line when he comes to us. We're not getting sucked into this. And they've shown that because they've got the collective bargaining agreement and the antitrust stuff, they can and have suspended people before. If you're playing the long game for the NFL, if you think you're that good, and there's probably a question about whether he's that good or not, but you could go to the NFL right now and say, hey, I'm thinking about not playing. This is too much. What's the deal? Have his lawyer set up. You're going to suspend him for a year. We'll just take it. We'll say all the right things and make you look good. He's going to have to sit out at some point anyway, and it might set him up better in the NFL. And NFL teams might think, oh, well, the kid's really growing up here and realizes he has a problem. I need to focus on myself for the next year. Yeah, I've got the legal right to do this, and I have a hard time believing after going all the trouble of doing this that they'll do anything other than try to play. But I do think the NFL's waiting, and they're going to drop the hammer.
Yeah, I think the argument that you're making here, I think, could have very plausibly made sense 2 months ago. Yeah. But my understanding is that the deadline to file for the supplemental draft and whether we're going to have one or not is already passed. It would have been plausible to say, I'm going to take the year off, I'm going to work out, I'm going to stay in the hospital, and I'm going to see if the Browns will trade a third-round pick in the supplemental draft to take me, and I'll prepare that way. The cynical answer, I think, is, there's going to be concerns about the NFL, but we've seen a lot of people in the NFL who have done way worse things than this get picked highly and given extensions and given leeway. The question is how good you are. And I actually do think there is something to the idea that even if Sorsby is a top 8 NFL quarterback prospect in his class, maybe higher, that the psychological toll of all of this and then the enormous pressure and bullseye that's going to be on his back whenever he plays could damage his stock significantly. Because it's one thing to say, to get drafted in a hypothetical potential. But then if your last year of college tape is bad, if Texas Tech with their schedule, which is certainly not very strong, performs worse than they did last year, then you're looking at I made $5 million this year, and now I'm a 5th round pick, and I'm on the Buccaneers or something. I don't have much of a career. That's the gamble. $5 million is a lot of money to turn down, though, especially given how much you might have lost in gambling.
Cody Campbell, the Texas Tech billionaire booster, chairman of the regions and all that stuff, he views himself as sort of a statesman in terms of reforming college athletics and has access to people that most folks don't have. But through this, I think it's damaging his reputation and, most importantly, his credibility. What do you think?
Unquestionably, right? Like this is not a secret, and I'm saying this as someone who's covered the political developments of the Protect College Sports Act pretty closely. I've talked to a lot of staffers on the Republican and Democratic side preparing that bill. Campbell's influence was massive. I mean, I'm not saying he wrote the thing, but his voice was recognized more than anybody else's. And because he has more money than most of these senators to put out television ads and to lobby, he is enormously connected with these college reform efforts. Ones that I think, if they happen, will disproportionately benefit schools like Texas Tech. And there was a time when I think you could claim, yeah, I may be in favor of Texas Tech, but I'm not as conflicted as the Big Ten or the SEC or some of these other lawmakers. I can't be bought. Whatever kind of credibility you want to have as a statesman goes out the door when you show up on Dan Dakich's show and try to insinuate that the college football world is angry because they want to keep Texas Tech down and that they would somehow excuse this behavior from LSU. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you would expect to see on one of the bad 247 message boards.
Yeah, it's fan stuff.
Yeah, like this is not something that you expect from a guy who's trying to do something very difficult,
right?
Which is thread a complicated bill through one of the most politically divided times since the Civil War, and to get 60 votes. I think it'll be easier for someone to look and say, you know what, this guy can go to hell, and ignore it because of the stuff that he's doing here. So one of the difficult things about being a billionaire in this country is that no one is around you to put their arm around you and say, I love you. You need to log off.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. He refuses to log off.
Yeah, he just comes across as a fanboy.
And I know a lot of stuff, things can change quickly in sports, but right now I just get the feeling like, forget influence. I don't think anybody wants to be in a room with him. I mean, I'm talking other presidents, other ADs. I think it goes back to what you said earlier about that visceral reaction people had. People who don't swear are swearing. People who don't get loud. People who don't get angry. I don't even think they want to be in a room with him. I think the influence is gone.
Yeah, it's the money in this isn't a partisan statement, right? But like if you have enough money in politics, people who really don't like you will find a way to swallow their pride and show up for a picture or a dinner. But the last 48 hours have not crowned him, and for that matter, I think the university in glory. You look at what Kirby Hocutt put out as his official statement. He's the athletic director, and it's like, I recognize that people feel really conflicted about this. It's difficult. We want to support this young man. He needs structure, trying to be kind of more high-minded and professional. And then you got your football coach saying, I didn't kill anybody. And then you've got your booster, regent / owner saying, like, y'all are just haters. I'll see you in court. It kind of undermines any kind of high-minded argument that they're trying to make,
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think if the Big 12 can come up with some form of suspension that is certainly stiffer and more penalized than 2 games that they'll win if I'm quarterback, if they can do that, and then Texas Tech continues to fight it, which is what they're basically saying, that the public then is going to view this as, well, we are trying to win football games at all costs, and whatever the crap you do, we're not going to let you do it, because the essence isn't to help a young man, it's to win football games. And their message then becomes worse and worse the longer this goes, and maybe they might say, my gosh, we are running up against this here. Sorsby, sorry, son. We want to help you, but it's just not worth it, because what's going to do to our rep and our integrity as a football program and a university is going to take a major hit. And we're already buying most of our team. And last year it was just their defense. They literally had guys that were most of the guys were just there for one season. And we had
Sure.
a kid, or not a kid, a producer who served his mission in Lubbock, and he said nobody goes to Lubbock on purpose. They go for reasons, whether you're called there or you're lured there by the money. So the point being, in a roundabout way, is Texas Tech is going to look bad the longer they try to resist efforts to not have this happen.
I'm sure that that's true. I think the cynical answer here, though, is we have a lot of years of data to show that a lot of institutions are willing to make that gamble and say, so what? The public gets mad at them, and then they'll either eventually find something else to be mad at, or it doesn't matter because the banner hangs.
Right, but this is gambling, though. This is the one sacred cow that you cannot violate.
Yeah, well, that would be what every athletic director in this conference thinks, and many coaches, and we'll see. I think many other institutions would have reached the exact same conclusion that you just described there. Texas as a whole is different. If there's one thing generational Texans really do not like, it is being told what to do by somebody who is not in Texas. Regardless of, even if it's like, hey, go brush your teeth. Like, no, screw you. I don't let my teeth rot out. Go Texas. There's a little bit of that, a little bit of that here too. And they think that they have an opportunity to not only win a championship, but potentially put themselves in position to be in a super league, right? That if you don't win now, you're risking existential harm because, like you said, you don't go to Lubbock on purpose. West Texas is beautiful, but it's also kind of like Mars. And that you're not in this massive television market like other places. I don't agree with that thinking, but if you're already this pot committed, I can understand why somebody associated with that program would just say, screw it. Lord knows that people at LSU have made that calculation before. People at Baylor have made that calculation, Michigan, Ohio State. It's certainly not unique to Texas Tech.
I do wonder, and you make a very good point about Texas and Texas's attitude towards the rest of the world. I got a friend from college living in Dallas now, and I've got a family on my wife's side from there. That's not the first time I've heard something like that said. Yeah. So I totally back you up on that, but I do wonder inside of Texas. And back to your earlier point about there's no one to tell a billionaire to log off. I don't know Texas politics, but running the Board of Regents there, do you answer to the governor or the state legislature who might have ties to Texas or Texas A&M? Is there literally someone who can tell Cody and Texas Tech, hey, knock it off? Or maybe there isn't. Maybe they really are, a country unto themselves out there in West Texas.
I think it's a little bit more the latter. The only exception would be, this is a little bit of an open secret around Washington, that Campbell's dream job is to replace Ted Cruz and then win and become the next senator from Texas and be an heir to a new kind of conservative populist lawmaker. And if that is your true biggest goal, then yes, I could see some other people on the other side of the state saying like, hey, man, do you want to make every single Republican mega donor in Dallas hate your guts? Because that's a great way to not win anything. But if that isn't your ultimate goal, if your ultimate goal is just glory to Red Raider Nation, yeah, I don't think the governor, lieutenant governor, the Space Force, and anybody, I don't think it can really make you stand down unless it's the money in Lubbock, and he's got quite a bit of it.
If Texas Tech gets really beaten up and every time they go on the road and this is a massive distraction and somehow they screw this up, who stands to benefit in the Big 12 on the field this year?
Yeah, that is actually a really good question because both the fun thing about this league and the potentially frustrating thing about this league is the difference between the best team and like the ninth team is way smaller than it is in any other power conference. I would imagine on the field it seems like the general sports writer consensus is that BYU and Utah are going to be or should expect to be in conversation for the 2, 3, 4 spot in this league. And if Texas Tech stumbles, they could be in a position to compete. But if we wanted to sit here and this is pre-media day and trying to figure out the too deep for everywhere, if you wanted to passionately argue for one of the Arizonas, or for a different institution, I guess really anybody other than Cincinnati, I think I would say sure, I'd listen. There's very few teams in this league that I would say, oh, there's no chance that they have a potential to compete, especially after what we saw with Arizona State 2 years ago. when I think there was a good argument like this should be one of the 5 worst teams in the Power 4, and they made the playoff and almost beat Texas.
Matt, we will leave it right there. We appreciate the time and all the energy and passion. Thanks for joining us. And people can check you out. Extra Points newsletter covering college football. He is Matt Brown, the founder and publisher. Thanks, Matt.
Yep, you bet. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
DJ PK coming up top of the hour. Brian Geltzeiler joins us. Yes, there'll be Springsteen music and much talk of how in the world the Spurs managed to blow a 29-point lead and how did the Knicks come back. That's coming up at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeComb.
Shehan Jayaraja, CBS, joins us. We're all shocked. I know everybody's shocked. The only people that seem to be happy about this is Brendan Sorsby and Texas Tech coaches and fans. How shocked are you that this went down the way it did?
I thought that the case that the NCAA laid out was pretty reasonable. In sports in general, right, there is a bright red line around one thing, and it's that you do not gamble on sports and that you do not gamble on your own games. This is something that impacts the perceived integrity of the sport. The idea that there are people on the playing surface who could be manipulating the game for whatever reason, right? And so that to me remains, in my eyes, a bright red line. This is really one of the first instances in sports, period, professional, college, any level, that we've seen it impacted like this.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
That sound could mean a lot of things. And when something's going wrong at home, the hardest part can be figuring out what the problem actually is. At Thumbtack, you can upload a voice message or a photo, and our AI-powered search will help diagnose your project. Plus, the pros we know have over 14 million 5-star reviews, so you can hire with confidence. Thumbtack, we know homes. Hire the right pro today.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
You're listening to this podcast, so you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in. We are talking NBA hoops and college football. PK, would you prefer to zig or zag right now?
Oh, I think the
we
big
got
story
two segments.
is NBA.
That was a sensational collapse by the Spurs and the Knicks, who showed no signs of life whatsoever in the first half and made a complete mess of the opening 24 minutes. Do not get penalized for that. They get off the deck and come back and win the game on OG's tip-in. Multiple things to regret there. Would you like to rank the regrettable things you saw from the Spurs?
Well, you got to box out the most ferocious offensive rebounder on the Knicks roster.
Oh, Giannotti.
The guy who plays with the highest level of energy.
Who had 4 rebounds in the whole game. The fourth one was the most important one.
And you just can't let your 7'4" guy. I don't see why he was guarding Brunson. I think Brunson knew, hey, jack one up here. Wemby's 25 feet from the basket.
Well,
he's not going to be able to get back. And there's going to be plenty of time for us to get an offensive rebound.
I think he jacked it up because at that point the clock's down to 3 or 4 and he didn't see any way forward. It's like, let it fly now. This is the best look I'm going to get.
Well, he could have passed it.
Yeah, he could have. You're right. He could have. Nobody really had anything going in that moment, but.
Because they were all underneath the basket. It was clear. Take the shot. Allow for an offensive rebound.
Let it fly.
Yeah.
And he did.
And that's what ends up happening. I don't understand why the Spurs wanted Wemby so far from the basket. They don't have a bunch of tall guys outside of him, relatively speaking, and they're all tall.
I think they were worried about Brunson's shot more than the rebound, and I think that Brunson was killing him in the second half, and so they said, all right, make the guy shoot over somebody who's literally a foot taller than him.
And sacrifice the offensive glass?
Yes.
Bad move.
And obviously it bit them.
I would want the smallest guy, whoever's on the Spurs roster, to defend Brunson and have Brunson take that shot.
Looking at the play right now, the one guy he could have passed the ball to was Anunoby. Because Anunoby inbounded and he went to the three-point
basket.
Well, not right away. He went to the three-point line to make himself available because they were doubling, that to me is the real mystery. Like, if you're going to put Wemby on him, and you're right, it does cause other problems, but you don't need to put a second guy on him. So I don't know if Wemby freelanced that. I don't know.
I think they were kind of guarding him to his left because that's his strong side. Who was it, Fox?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was really double-teaming him. It was just he was preventing Brunson from going left.
Anunoby makes himself available, like, you're getting doubled, throw me the ball, I'll take the shot. And when Brunson lets it fly, Anunoby just pivots and just flies down the lane and the rebound. It was a nice soft shot. That rebound could have come clanking off the rim, but it's right there for Anunoby to
If
tip it in.
I'm the Spurs, I live with Brunson taking that shot every time. That is an extremely low percentage shot. And I don't care what your effective, with the emphasis on F, field goal percentage is.
He would have gotten a better percentage shot, though, if Wemby isn't there. I mean, that's why it was a low percentage shot.
No. From that distance?
Well, I don't think he would have let it go. He still had 3 or 4 seconds. He could have taken a couple more dribbles and tried to beat whoever.
You told me that there was no time left. Now you tell me he can take 2 or 3 dribbles.
To beat Wemby, who's got the extendo arms and is 7'4", there's no time, but there's time to beat a normal human in 3 or 4 seconds. NBA players can put it on the ground a couple times.
We'll never know if that was in his mindset. What we do know is he jacked it up and left the offensive glass wide open. It's like taking your goaltender in hockey and making him play in a defenseman and leaving the goal unprotected. The goal was unprotected. Clearly, it was unprotected. It's undeniably unprotected, and they got burned by it.
In addition to the final seconds when the Spurs could have salvaged everything, Wembanyama's missed free throws were huge. Fox with a couple super curious turnovers, one of which they got away with because Hart blew the layup. It was a constant meltdown for the Spurs at the end of the game, and as you pointed out earlier in the show, not for the first time. They had a winnable game too get away from them.
This town knows what it's like to have your best player at the free throw line miss 2 free throws with the game on the line.
Yes, there are Jazz fans of a certain generation who can close their eyes and see that happening right now.
And that is inexcusable. That is, you melted, you wilted under pressure, and you could spin it any way you want. That's exactly what that is. If you can't make one of 2, you're not up for the moment. The moment is too big for you. You can't handle it. And it's harsh to say, and nobody wants to hear it, but that's the truth. And a wise business owner once said to me, "You're obnoxious, but you tell the truth." And you were standing right there.
You're obnoxious, but you tell the truth.
Yes.
I haven't heard anyone minimize the size of those 2 free throws, though.
But nobody wants to hear it. And nobody. We want to hear it here because it's not our guy standing at the free throw line, a guy that we put a statue up for.
I don't know what they're saying in San Antonio today, to your point.
Right.
But
they're complaining that the referees didn't call a foul on De'Aaron Fox when having him shoot the layup, that OG Anunoby fouled him. That's what they're complaining about.
Swallow the whistle last 20 seconds of a game is not surprising. I think there was 10 left when he took that.
Sure, it's easy to say, hey, Big Vic choked because he's not our guy.
Yeah, right, yeah. But that was brutal.
Yeah.
The pressure was massive. And especially because he'd been sitting on the floor calling somebody out on the other team.
Pointing to his head, running his mouth.
I know. And then, don't do that. Karma, it's going to come back and bite you right in the butt.
Don't do it, and you're from France.
Can't you?
Name me a tough guy from France.
Is it not a form of encouragement?
So the Europeans can be tough, but not the French Europeans then? Is that
Name me a tough guy from France.
Rudy
Did you hear me?
I can't even name
Would
French
you want
players.
Rudy Gobert on the line in that situation?
Diao. I've only got 3 French players. I get
Tony Parker.
Oh, Tony
Say
Parker.
Tony Parker,
Yeah, Tony Parker.
like-
Yeah, I should have gone to Tony Parker right away.
Thabo Cephalosha.
No, he's Switzerland.
Yeah,
was Swiss.
but he speaks French.
Evan Fournier.
Evan Fournier, good call there. Yeah, I
Because
know
we
Evan
asked,
Fournier,
I remember asking somebody with the Jazz, when he's talking to Gobert, what are they talking? And he said French.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Swiss people are tough. Let me tell you, my
Father-in-law,
he was
yeah.
an SOB.
Tough guy.
He was. He taught me a lot.
It's all those mountains.
He used to wear shoals. It'd make my my wife uncomfortable. And they had a pool backyard in Phoenix. Dad, I have my friends over. We're not from Europe, if you get my drift.
Put a swimsuit on. Call it trunks. Call it a swimsuit. Call it a bathing suit. Just put it on.
He spoke 5 languages.
Walking around like you're Tarzan out in the middle of the jungle somewhere. You're not. You're in the burbs. Put on some clothes.
But that was normal for him.
Yeah.
So, and he left us at 59, way too young.
You have great stories about him.
And I wanted more. He was going to be my travel guide in Europe.
That would have been awesome.
Because he'd been there. He'd been to all those countries a million
Knew his
times.
way
Worked for
around.
the airlines.
Yeah.
And spoke most of the languages over there. But now he's gone at 59. That sucked.
Other goats in this one. There were so many bad decisions. The launching of the threes. Champagne, who's had some good games in the series, has come up big. That was a mess.
Champagne, pass the ball, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Come on.
He took a 3 early in the third quarter that drove me nuts watching him launch
And
that
I
thing.
knew it drove you nuts. I could feel it.
Good.
I could feel the vibes.
19, 20 seconds on the shot clock, and he's off balance with 2 guys trying to defend him, and he just throws it up. What are you doing?
I think they got casual with the lead.
Yes.
And they didn't have the ability now twice to finish it off.
Close the game out. Seal the deal.
Right. Now, if you want that form of encouragement, that it should be that, hey, we're down 3-1, but obviously there were 2 games right there to be had. And you can argue game 1 was to be had too, but certainly games 2 and 4 were extremely there to be had. And we controlled game 3. So we've beat this team playing our game for 48 minutes. We controlled game 3. We took everybody out of it. There was no energy in the crowd in game 3 and very little on the bench. So if you want to point to pause, which I think you should, because I'm not here to say that this series is over by any stretch. No, it's the first to 4, not first to 3-1. And so it's doable, particularly if you believe in home court, which I don't believe that much at this level, but you got 2 of the 3 there. So I'm not going to, but at the same time, I'm not going to say, all they got to do is win game 6 in the Garden, and they had an excellent chance, because that's assuming that they win game 5.
Yeah.
And, of course, game 7. And we'll worry about if we get to game 7. I mean, I wouldn't mind a game 7 either way.
We never mind game 7s.
But
More
I'm
drama.
not going to assume that they're out of it, nor am I going to assume that they're going to win game 5. But I know they can. They can win game 5. Certainly they can win game 5. They should have won both games in New York, clearly. And they should be getting, if they flew out last night or this morning, they should. Don't feel hopeless by any stretch. No. You've got adversity. All right. That sucks, but that's life, man. Everyone's going to have it.
The Knicks had adversity down 29. If there's any lesson to take, it's that the Knicks kept playing. That's the best thing I think you can say about the Knicks. And they made a bazillion mistakes of their own, and they're just not getting those examined this morning because they got the win, and they're up 3-1, which is all they could walk out of the building with last night. So they got it. But they made a mess of that game in long stretches. But it doesn't matter. They're up 3-1. They got to win.
But
so
I
just
think
keep
that
playing. That's the best thing the Knicks did.
They have this history very recently, this very year.
They gave them. It
doesn't much matter.
A form of encouragement.
Well, it's proof. It's evidence. Play, and the game isn't over. The same thing. The series isn't over at 3-1. The game isn't over in the third quarter. It's not over till it's over, Yogi, and that's clear. And they played, and this is what we talk about. Momentum isn't available so much in hockey, but it can be in basketball. And then you get going, and things feel great, and away you go. Here, mistakes were made. We can crack on the Spurs, but the Knicks they made a bunch of mistakes too, and they just were able to get a brilliant play at the end. Bronco talked about football comes down to a play or two. Well, box this kid out, or the ball bounces to the left and OG can't get his left hand on it, but it bounces. He's right there with his right hand, no less, his dominant hand, and he tips it in.
His post-game quote, "We're battle-tested. We've been through a lot. We were down 29, but it was still positive." That is what the Spurs need to – all they need to do is change the numbers there. Instead of we're down 29, we're down 3-1. But the rest of that quote is what the San Antonio needs to embrace right now.
They need to embrace it, but at the same time, don't ignore it. Don't make excuses for it. Use it as a motivator and a lesson to be taught that you learned the hard way. And a lot of times lessons are learned through negativity. It is hard lesson. It is a hard lesson. Okay? And you blew it. Don't run from it. Like De'Aaron Fox, it kind of bothered me a little bit where he's saying, well, I wanted to put us up by 3 and blah, blah. Instead of saying, in retrospect, I probably should have just dribbled it out to the corner and played keep away. Yeah. But he tried to cover for himself like, no, I didn't make a mistake. Well, yeah, you did. Because it didn't work. And I would rather him say, own it, man. Yeah, I thought I had a step and I could get to the lane, but the other guy made a heck of a play. In retrospect, it probably would have been better for me to dribble to the corner and at minimum waste a couple of more seconds. And then I can regroup, gather myself, and take an untested, unguarded 15-footer, which at the pro level, counting the first time you've picked up a basketball, you've literally done that over 1,000 times. And so, but to act like, oh, no, I did right, that bothers me. Own it. Own it. That's the best way to learn from it, is to own it and say, yeah, it wasn't the right move. I thought it was. Turns out it wasn't. There's nothing wrong with that. Am I going to crack on him for saying that? No. I'm actually going to have more respect for him that he admits it. I mean, I literally guarantee you, if he's ever in that situation again, he won't do that. Yeah. And that's fine. He's a human being. No one is expecting him to be perfect at all times, particularly in that situation in which he's literally never been in. And he has confidence in himself to be able to take it to the basket. All right, it didn't work. But don't try to couch it and cover for it like, oh, yeah, it was the right thing to do. I'd do that 10 out of 10 times, like Tortorella said on that review that he challenged in, what was it, Game 3 of the NHL series? Game 4, maybe?
No, it was Game 3.
I thought it was Game 3.
Yeah, it was Game 3.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that.
Unless it was Game 2. It was either 2 or 3. It wasn't 4.
And having him stand up for that. There's nothing wrong with De'Aaron Fox saying, yeah, I thought I could do it. Guy made a great play. They didn't call it. I probably should have dribbled it out. You going to think anything less of him if he says that? Is that showing weakness? I don't think so.
No, it was a mistake. And acknowledging that, I always think, and you think the same thing, that when someone gets up at a press conference and said, here's a mistake I made, but you think, well, they got a way better chance of fixing it going
forward. That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Than if they sit there and say it wasn't a mistake in the first place. When I hear someone say it wasn't a mistake in the first place, I think, well, you're going to float that pass to the sideline, or you're going to chase that curveball in the dirt, whatever it was. You're probably going to do it again.
Yeah, and plus nobody believes you anyway.
That's true, because we all think you shouldn't have gone to the hoop.
Right.
And the funny thing is that in the moment, a lot of people were thinking, oh, don't go to the hoop. Like, this is the time. I mean, you get coached on time and score. I mean, college coaches do that all the time. High school coaches do it all the time. It's not the first time he's ever heard, hey, time and score, run out the clock.
And it didn't happen for him. Okay. Mm-hmm. I can accept it. And it won't happen again. So for the Spurs, they should be fired up to play, Saturday night? What would this be? Game 5. Yeah. Be fired up to play Game 5, man. Come out and give the best effort that you possibly have. Don't try to this and that. And even if they ask Wemby, what's the deal with you in your head? No. You go to the free throw line, who's in your head? Yourself. So, yeah, I got to be better. Don't tell me that it's going to ruin your summer.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Brian Geltzeiler, Sirius XM NBA radio host and NBA TV contributor at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
For Jazz fans, it's been a rough few years. Well, those days are behind us as the Utah Jazz finally struck gold in the NBA Draft Lottery. Picking second. As the Jazz prepare to draft a potential superstar with the number 2 overall pick. Nobody will bring you better coverage of the NBA Draft than the KSL Sports Zone. For all the breaking news, high-profile interviews, and player analysis leading right up to draft night, keep it locked on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
Thumbtack presents Tile Trouble. Every single time I use my sink, I make eye contact with the uneven grout on my kitchen backsplash. The crooked corners eye me, and I'm haunted by more tiling questions than I thought possible. What kind of pro can fix a backsplash? Can I replace one cracked tile, or should I replace them all? What if I just use Thumbtack? I can hire top-rated pros, read reviews, and compare prices with a tap, all on the app. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to have Brian Geltzeiler on in the very next segment. We've got a short segment here. He's going to join us next from SiriusXM as NBA radio host, NBA TV contributor, and a New Yorker. We will talk with him about that epic collapse. We had Matt Brown on at the top of this hour about Texas Tech, and he was completely stunned by this turn of events. If you missed that interview, you want to dive deep in it. And if this, and maybe Tech is great with distractions and they got so much talent and they just roll. But if stuff goes wrong, who stands to benefit? And he did go right to Utah and BYU right out of the gate, although he acknowledged
picking them second and third.
Right. Yeah, most people are picking BYU second and Utah third. That seems to be the consensus behind Tech at 1.
Right.
But he did say so little difference in this league between Team 1 and Team 9. He threw out the Arizona schools.
Well, that's the strength of the league.
Houston and TCU could be thrown in.
Are throwing Oklahoma State in there.
Turn it around. New coach, bunch of players coming from North Texas who won, and you can say it's outrageous, but James Madison to Indiana worked out pretty well, so who's to say?
Right. Yeah. I don't think Texas Tech is unbeatable by any stretch. And I don't think Sorsby makes them unbeatable by any stretch. Yeah. I don't even know if he makes a difference. But it's coming off as Texas Tech is making excuses for it, and their motto is we're going to win at all costs, and no one is going to stand in our way. And we will take you to court, every person, every entity who stands in our way, and they can say, oh, yeah, we didn't do any of this stuff. Okay, maybe you didn't as far as Sorsby and his folks that, not his people that went to court. But you're basically saying going forward, we're going to be involved. And nobody believes you that you weren't involved anyway. Because all you had to do is say, hey, we don't think it's in your best interest to play. And so does he go and follow it? Or does he say, okay, I'll just work on myself and get ready for an opportunity, whether this summer or next summer, to play in the NFL?
Yeah.
So Texas Tech is just talking about how we had nothing to do with this. But no one's believing it. Everything they're saying is only being endorsed by people who want Texas Tech football to win.
They could spin the we didn't have anything to do with it if they weren't immediately backing it up with, if you try to suspend the Big 12, we will sue you.
That's what I just said.
$1 billion. It's total BS.
Right.
It's complete BS. There's no possible way. If they weren't in his corner originally, well, they are now. And there's a couple people who painted him
every step of the way.
The biggest
brought him in because
booster.
they thought he can win.
Yeah.
That's it. They're not interested in helping young men. I mean, that sounds
good, but that's just.
But they brought him in because they thought he could help them win.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. They're trying to win at the highest level, and they don't want anything to get in the way of that. And anything else is just spin. That's the message that people are receiving. You can spin it, well, he didn't murder anyone. Great. That's the standard now. It doesn't matter. And it's not like they're different. I get it. Georgia is trying to win, and all the arrests. Urban Meyer had 30-some guys arrested at Florida.
He was trying to win too.
But he won national titles.
Right.
And that's all. So Texas Tech, that's what they're trying to say. We are doing nothing that hasn't been done. We're trying to win at all costs. But they can't say that. But that's the message that everyone is receiving, because that's the deal. We will not suspend our second-best player for the NCAA tournament when we've got the player of the year like BYU did. Rip them all you want, but they stood true to their principle. I think they could have handled it better, but nevertheless, that's what they did. They sacrificed a potential Final Four bid for their principle. Whether you want to agree with it or not, that's not the point. And most schools, if not every other school, is not willing to do that important of a player.
And we've accepted that in lots of circumstances. Yeah, I don't want to say we. All of college sports has accepted that in a lot of circumstances. But they don't accept that with gambling.
Gambling is the one absolute thing that you can't do.
Gambling is supposed to lead to a 1-year suspension. Maybe more, but certainly 1 year. And for a kid who's going into his 5th year, his 1 year is his only year. It's
and
everything.
With murder, well, you don't have to do anything.
No.
Because the law will take care of it.
The courts took care of Ray Caruth. The Carolina Panthers didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
We respect the legal process. And then he's convicted, he's locked up, and Carolina doesn't have to do anything.
You respect it if it's your verdict. If it's not, then you're going to cry, as we've seen. So with that in mind, that's it. They ought to just stop talking and let it go. But they can't. They have to, and they keep digging themselves a deeper hole. You want to win at all costs. Great. Good for you. And you're not going to. Your season will end in a defeat.
Yeah. It will. They're not going to sweep through the playoffs, knocking off Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. Notre Dame has been picked up there.
Because the reality is, with Texas Tech, all the money in the world is not going to put you above those programs.
It's all the money in the world to you in the Big 12, but they're also sitting on, quote unquote, all the money in the world.
Right.
Oregon has been throwing all the money in the world at football for 35 years probably now.
Yeah.
Their first Rose Bowl, I think, was 94. So, assuming they threw money at it for a few years to ramp up to the Rose Bowl.
Right.
And they haven't gotten to number 1. They've gotten to number 2 or 3, but they haven't gotten to number 1. Turns out that's really hard to do.
And they're going to make everyone's going to be against them along the way.
All this stuff coaches tell us about no distractions is because they've seen how distractions can tear a program apart in ways that aren't immediately visible, but they're still factually a problem. Sounds like a massive distraction.
Sure.
DJ PK, Brian Geltzeiler from New York on the NBA Finals, the historic collapse, the unreal rally. Next, stay with us.
Thumbtack presents Tile Trouble. Every single time I use my sink, I make eye contact with the uneven grout on my kitchen backsplash. The crooked corners eye me, and I'm haunted by more tiling questions than I thought possible. What kind of pro can fix a backsplash? Can I replace one cracked tile, or should I replace them all? What if I just use Thumbtack? I can hire top-rated pros, read reviews, and compare prices with a tap, all on the app. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.